7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Done. It
Amanda,
has been way too long. I feel like we took a
I
really
know,
massive break.
I know, but we are fully charged. Well, I do have to be honest because I have been streaming on the Wednesdays with Gregory. That sorry for that, but somebody has to do the work, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I have been streaming with Gregory about DevExtreme, which is one of our other really great tools that we have.
yes. How's
But
that? How's that one going?
it's going pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, we have to get into this as well. But yeah, I mean, I am at this moment in time very enthusiastic about Blazor altogether. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here again to show some more stuff.
I am too. We were having some difficulties. I think Twitch was having some difficulties, so we're starting a little late. But I know Don, you wanted to do a recap since it has been a while of what you've already done, and then jump into what you wanted to show today.
Yeah, yeah, I have a couple of nice things to talk about, and but let's first do a small recap. So
Cool.
the last the last stream that we did, I actually migrated the Blazor server application into a WebAssembly one. So I have constructed a proper web API backend that will serve the same data, and actually it uses the same code. What we have done in a nutshell is the first thing that I've done was I have created this DxGrid.data.ef where I have scaffolded the database that you can see under the folder models.
Right.
And a bit of a technical thing that I've done is because I wanted to do something with DTO, so the models that are used by Entity Framework, I do not want to work with them directly in the UI for various reasons. And also validation. I want to perform some sort of validation on the server side as well as on the client side. For that, I have decided to go for fluent validation. And for the DTO mechanism, I am using AutoMapper, which are two widely adopted free available tools on NuGet. And what I've done is I have created this abstract data store, which will deal with entity framework on the back, under the hood basically, and in the front it will deal with the UI models that we want to work with basically. This is a bit of a technical file, but yeah, you can go over it and check it out anytime. It will help you do certain things. The next thing that I've set up was a data project, and I've explicitly created a lot of projects in the solution with dependencies to one and each other, but also to make it possible to transform your application into a WebAssembly one. So this data project only has the UI models. And what I did in the last stream, I have created another data store that will deal with the web API backend.
Okay.
So typically, when we migrated to WebAssembly, I obviously had to use the entity framework models on the backend, and yeah, the models, the UI models on the front end. And for that reason, if we go to the server, I have set up a number of controllers here, which we could, by the way, even minimize more by using minimal APIs, but that might be something for another stream. So here again, I set up a base controller class, which will use dependency injection to get that data store that I've been talking about, and that will do everything concerning validation, etc., etc. And then yeah, that's typically what we did. But what we now have at this stage is we have this WebAssembly application, which is our front end. And yeah, pretty much everything that you see in this solution is also available in the Blazor server application. So all the pages and everything that we've done so far concerning UI is available there. So yeah, when we want to build a bit further, we need to do it on two places. If we want to maintain the Blazor server application together with the Blazor WebAssembly application. So what I'm going to do first now is I'm going to combine this in a way that we have these pages only in one place in the project. And to be precisely, I'm going to put that in the WebAssembly version. And yeah, this is a bit of a trick that Steve Sanderson showed me as well. So I'm going to show this to you as well. And Steve Sanderson is obviously the guy that invented Blazor, basically. For
Oh,
all of you who, yeah, I talked with the guy and a very nice, friendly man.
that's good to hear.
But yeah, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is actually quite simple. So what we see here, we have an app razor file. And this is typically our main component in the application. And this will load all the other stuff when it's necessary. And this app razor component in Blazor server is being loaded in the host file here. And so here it will load in that main component of our Blazor server application and it will get things rolling. What we can do is if I will go to the dependencies of my Blazor server application, I'm going to add a project reference. And now, as you can see here, I can have a reference to the Blazor WebAssembly project, so the client one. I'm going to do that. And the Blazor WebAssembly project is typically pretty much the same as a Razor class library. So it contains all the static assets like HTML, CSS, etc., etc. So, and they will actually be served on the same location as if it would in the Blazor server application. So if we would now build the project, it will give us some warnings and some errors because there are duplicate resources on the same location in the project. So what we do now is if I go to the www root folder of the Blazor server application, I'm going to remove these files because these are the same. They are also available in the WebAssembly one. So if I scroll down here,
So they're like redundant.
yeah, they're redundant. If I would build the project now, then the Blazor server application will give an error because there are two of the same files in the same place. You see
Yeah.
here, they
Yeah.
are as well. So what is quite nice is I can just remove them from the server application. Just get rid of them. And I'll do the same with everything in the pages folder as well, because they are also available in the Blazor WebAssembly version. So I'm going to remove these ones as well. I'm going to remove the app razor file as well, so the root component of my Blazor server. And last but not least, these three files. That browser not supported file, if we scroll down, let me collapse a couple of things here to make it a bit simpler. If I go to the shared folder here, you have these three files, but the browser not supported is typically a page that is displayed on Blazor server when your browser is unable to run a Blazor server application. And that one is non-existent in Blazor WebAssembly because that is dealt with in another way. So I'm going to remove these ones as well. And they're literally the same. And with this, I can now go to my host file here. And you see now that it cannot find this app. And that's obviously because I removed it. That was the Blazor server app. If I
Okay.
would now use the one that is inside the Blazor WebAssembly one, so that is going to be DX Chinook WASM dot client dot app. It will now use the root application or the root component, which is located in the WebAssembly project. And if we take a look at it, it is typically the same. Where was it again? It was here. So we already saw that this is also in the file that I removed. And because of the configuration of this WebAssembly project, if I now run the Blazor WebAssembly, the Blazor server version, you will see that we have the same project, but now we only have one set of files with the pages and the controls and all that stuff. So where is it? Yeah, here it is. So we can immediately see, because of there is one thing. Here is the application, but it doesn't look quite the same. And I'll show you why that is. But as you can see, we still have a functional application, and it does everything that we've done so far, but now we only have one set of files. And if I want to test my WebAssembly version, I can go to Visual Studio. I'll move down to this project and set this as a starter project. And now I can run the WebAssembly version, which is using the same files. And you can distinguish the two projects because the WebAssembly version is having this nice loader.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's typically, so now we can actually pick which project we want to run. So I think that's a neat little trick if you are working on both platforms basically. But what you do see is that the menu is looking better as the one here. You see that? This is the server version. So I forgot obviously something. You see?
Can you go back to the other one? Just let me. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so this one is bigger, and it's got the hamburger menu, and
Mm-hmm.
there is some stuff here, but that is not exactly the same. So one thing that I need to change or need to add is the following. If we take a look at the index file of the Blazor WebAssembly project, what we'll see is there is a link referencing to a style sheet. And this is also a nice trick that comes with Blazor, because this style sheet is typically all style sheets combined inside this particular project into one. And where are we doing this? Well, for instance, we have the navigation menu, and it's got a small CSS file with only styles that apply to the nav menu. But we also have a header, and it's got a small CSS file as well with rules that only apply to the elements inside the header.razor file. And during the build process, these two files are being combined into that one file that is right here. You see? So if I take this
Mm-hmm.
file, because we need to load that stuff in as well on the Blazor server. So you could probably imagine what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go to the layout file of my Blazor server, and I'm going to put it right here, because it needs to load in those style sheets as well. So if I now change this one as being the starter project, what we'll see is two identical applications. Here's the WebAssembly one. Oh no, that title doesn't apply anymore. You see that?
Yeah.
It both. Yeah, that's obviously, yeah. But we should change something for that. But you see the server port is different. This is the 5001 and this is the 7060 server port. So this is typically the Blazor server version and the other one is the WebAssembly. And now the cool thing is that we can add some new features, but we only need to do it in one place. So a small little trick here. All right, I thought that we might do some little things on the data grid. And one of the things that I'd like to do is in this data grid, I mean, I know that in the model, the customer model, there is officially also a support reference ID out of my head. And that has something to do with the database that we're dealing with. So what I want to do is let's go to my entity framework models. And if I go to the customer, so this database deals with music and artists and clients and a bunch of invoices. And apparently this database has, with the customer, it has a support representative. So typically, if you would call this company, then the support representative will take your call, I guess, something like that. Or so,
A real
or
person,
maybe
Don?
you'll never know.
I
That's
guess
why there
not.
is this little question mark, right? No, but anyway, so there is a relationship. The whole idea is obviously there is a in the database. There's a relationship between this customer and this employee. And how do I know it is the employee? Well, the entity framework scaffolding has already told me that this is an employee, which is a support representative.
Oh.
So I want to have that person in the grid as well. So we can see which of our colleagues has dealt with this client. Right? That sounds like a cool idea, I guess.
Yeah. Helpful to know who like
Yeah,
had contact.
so yeah. So well, we can first we need obviously to have to follow of prepare a couple of things which are with the entire architecture that we have set up is pretty fast to do. So we need something, we need a data store that will query the employees. And we could even add a data grid, a page with employees, which we can do as well. But as I showed before, what we'll need is a construction which is like this. So we need an employee store. So let's start with this by adding a new class, and I will call this employee store. Let's make this public and derive it from EF data store. We are dealing with the Chinook DB context. The key is an integer. The model will be the employee model. I probably need to create that one. The entity framework model was the employee. And that's it. Let's go to our models folder in the data. So this will be our UI model. And create that thing right away. Employee model. This is so stupid that it always creates those internal. It's probably a setting somewhere in Visual Studio, but so for this I will copy a number of properties, but we'll see probably a bit later why we are using DTO models. So I'm going to copy over these ones. Rest is not needed right now, and I'm going to copy them in here. So I've got a whole bunch of things, and I know that I want to have a full name property as well, because I want to display like the first name and the last name in that particular column. So for that, I will already add a full name property, and that will hold the first name and the last name. Like this. It looks like I'm forgetting something here, and it is, yeah. All right, now I go back to that store that I just created, and we'll need to include a reference here. But now we can typically add the missing constructor and implement the abstract class. And now we just need to add a couple of things which are quite simple. This is going to be name of customer model dot hey, where was it? Oh no, this is employee. Employee ID. This is returning the model dot employee ID. This one will set the employee ID with key. And this is again model dot employee ID. Well, I could obviously make this all very small by using a little code rush trick, which will collapse it all to expression bodies. Like this. And one of the other things we need to do is we need to set up a validator, a server-side validator. I will not put any rules in this, but we'll have to make it. So this is going to be the employee validator, and that is an abstract validator which deals with the employee. So this is dealing with the entity framework model. Let's add the employee validator constructor as well, and we'll leave the rules for what it is right now. Another thing that we need to do is we need to validate the other model, so the UI model as well. So for that, I will go to here and put it in. In this case, we are dealing with this, and I need to rename this. So this is pretty much the data preparations, so we can use it. To make sure that the system can find it, I need to register it on the appropriate places. So this is the employee model validator. And then here we need to register the data store, and we need to register the server-side validator. Employee model employee. So with that in place, we can start to deal with this connection between the employee um, and the customer. And what we can do now to make it the application even better is we could actually set up this page, which will be a Razor component, and I will call this one employees. And I can now copy over a bunch of things here. And in this case, we are dealing with employee model. I will just add a couple of fields here and leave the rest out. So same here. So what we already implemented as well is a possibility to manage your employees. How cool is that?
Very.
And so with this in place, if I would go to the navigation menu, so we'll make the application complete. Employees. And we are now running the Blazor server application while I have been adding this stuff to the WebAssembly one. And here we have an employee menu item. Oh, let's see.
An error, an
Something went wrong.
unhandled exception.
Yeah, there is one little step that I forgot, and that is the map. The auto mapper cannot do its work because I didn't tell auto mapper that it should be able to map. Where was that again? That was here. I should tell AutoMapper that it should be able to map entities from the type employee to employee model. That was the step that I think I forgot it last time as well. So now,
maybe a post-it note or something to remind you.
yeah, I think I should do that. Yeah. Excellent idea. But then there would be many post-its on my screen, which would make a bit of a mess as well. But anyway, we have all of our employees here.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And we have customers. So the application is growing. It's getting more serious.
Mm-hmm.
And we're even able, well, I didn't add all the columns, so I also didn't add all the fields. I didn't do any validation, but at least all this functionality is stuff that we've already built. So we're pretty sure that it works, which is quite cool.
Yeah. Can you edit that or no?
Yeah, I can actually edit it. If I would go to this one and I will change this one to this, it will work. Just like that. You see?
Yeah. It's a lot of T's.
Yeah, but at least I can remove them as well, and that also works. How cool is that? You see?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is typically because we have set up this little architecture for our application. It is quite quick now to create new functionality in your application, and this is obviously convenient for us because now I want to do this combo box. I want to have a column which will display that person's name here. So how do we approach that? Well, for this, we need to do a couple of things, and I will head over to the demo site to show a couple of things here because it is important. I mean, the demo site has quite some good resources and some examples on how to approach this. Um, if we go to the grid, we have columns. Now we need to be at template. So we have column templates, for instance. So this is a column template. And this is something which is not the default behavior but of the grid, but we are able to modify that behavior. And if we check how this is done, there is this grid column and it's got a cell display template. And that cell display template has a context available, and we need to probably do something with that. So first, another thing that we need to check is that combo box also has some things that we might want to check out. The combo box, for instance, has a number of features, but we just want to stick to a simple list. But we do want to use the asynchronous data loading, which is what we've been talking about with the grid as well. And
Right.
for that, yeah, you remember that we have the grid. If it filters, it sends an SQL statement to the server, and it will actually query all the stuff on the server. That would be ideal if we can use that approach as well. So there are a couple of things, but actually the one that I need is not here in a demo, but fortunately I can go to the combo box link here, which will bring us to a notification that our website will be off from November 11th till 12th because of maintenance. So keep that in mind.
Oh, our website.
Yeah. Yeah, our website. Yeah, the DevExpress website will be, yeah, it will be
It's doing some
some
work.
maintenance being done. Yeah, exactly. And it might have anything to do with our upcoming release, maybe. Not sure.
Ooh,
Exactly.
proprietary information.
I don't know what I was just saying, but we're just gonna go over to this combo box thing. Yes. All right. So if I would go to this to the members of the combo box, what we'll see there is a custom data property, and we don't have a demo of that available, but the idea of this custom data, which will populate the items in the combo box, it is a function which does something with those data source load options. And we have been using that as well for the data grid. And you might remember that there were two different ways of loading that grid for Blazor WebAssembly and Blazor Server. And this is also where we got some questions about. And I resolved that by using a DevExstream data source loader. And on the Blazor server, I have, where did I put it? I have this one, which will load the data source to the grid. And this would probably also be a good idea to add an extra method to this particular interface that is doing that stuff for the combo box or a list box or any control that supports this feature. Well, if we want to see how this has been done for Blazor WebAssembly, I mean, this is directly connecting to the store and it is getting that store and it is connecting it directly to the grid. But on WebAssembly, we need to do that slightly different. Let's check that one out as well. because that one is using a HTTP client to connect to the backend and get that data from the backend. So this is typically a different way of working with the data grid, and we have abstracted it away by using this client loader. So we can do this by adding an extra method to this interface. And yeah, if we switch back to the help, it should be something which is receiving a data source load option and a cancellation token, and it will result in a task load result. So if we would follow the same approach, then we could add in this particular interface, I could add a method it should be inside that method or inside that interface. No, it's just the wrong. It should be this one. So I'm adding a method here which will be called get lookup data source, and it will receive those parameters as described here. This one and that one, and the result of that method is this. So now the only thing we need to do on the server loader is implement that method. So let's add it. And what we can do here is quite similar to the stuff that is on the top one, because what we need to do is we'll populate, or we'll get that store. Let me see. So we'll get this store through the service provider that was injected. We're going to check if that thing has been populated here. And if this is true, I can load the data source. And return it. Oh, my caps lock. And this is complaining about a couple of things. Yeah, that is obviously because this needs to be a sync. Yeah, so now I have extended that data source loader, and I can do the same for the client one. Let's do that immediately so we can test the application on WebAssembly as well. So we'll extend this one as well. And here we need to do a couple of different things. And they are actually, I've got them right out of the documentation as well. So I will just paste them in here. So here, let's see, it needs to be async. Like this. And here we are composing the URL. We are attaching those load options to it, and then we're gonna receive that back, the JSON, we receive it back. So with this in place, we can now go back to our customers and add an extra column. And this this column is going to be, what was it again? Let me have a quick check. The customer model. Oh, the customer model needs to have obviously that reference. So I can get that
Obviously.
out. Yeah, it's now unaware of any support representative. So let's just copy that out of the entity framework model and just put it in here. And because AutoMapper is doing a good job here, we'll be able to not change anything further. I will put it on an integer instead of an optional integer. And one of the other things that I'd like to do is I'm gonna add another thing to our UI model, which is the support rep name. And now I can have that set by AutoMapper. And this is a very cool trick that comes with AutoMapper. So if I would go here, I can go to this customer map and say, how did it go? At transform. I think it was an at transform. No, it's not a transform. It's a for member. I want to do a for member. The destination is going to be destination support rep name. And this is a standard procedure that comes with AutoMapper. This is also very well documented with it. So this is definitely something I will not spend too much time on. But what is quite nice to mention here is that it will use SQL actually to fetch those names of those support guys. Support rep. Let me have a quick check. Just a sec, something is not going entirely good here. And for some reason, yeah, here we are. So what I do here is I check whether the support rep is available, and if it is not set, I will not insert any text, and otherwise I will use an SQL statement that's done by Entity Framework as well to get the first name and the last name of this guy. And now if I go back to the customer model, I have that name there. Is that good? Yeah. So now this name will be set as well. If I now go back here, I can add this column. We are dealing with the support rep ID. So I'll call it support rep. And the reason that I have added that name as well is because there is also a cell display template, and that cell display template is used to print the contents in the cell. And for this reason, I will use context get row value, and in this case I will use the customer model dot, oh wait a sec, support rep. This is support rep name. The reason that I'm using this rep ID is obviously that is the column that we will be dealing with once we want to edit this cell. But if we are just displaying in the grid, we want to display this name. So let's see how that works. I'm going to disable a couple of columns, so it's getting a bit busy. So let me put these ones out.
And you just disabled them for the support?
Yeah, I've just commented them out, so they're turned green now, so that means that they won't be rendered, so the screen is having a bit more space. All right, so as you can see on the right side, we have those names. You see?
Oh.
They're already there.
So you see that Jane Peacock assisted Louise.
Exactly. But now, once we start editing, why is my mouse not clicking? This is weird. Do I really have to do this? Huh.
Your mouse isn't working?
My mouse doesn't click. Oh my god.
Mm.
Huh. Oh yeah, the right click. Oh yeah, there we are. It was apparently busy with something. Yeah. Okay. So we are here, but now, as you can see, we don't have any way of changing this support rep. So we need to add that as well. And this is where we need that combo box for.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So how can we achieve that? Well, in this case, I will add a layout item. In this case, I will also change this to support rep. And this is going to be a combo box. Let's make a bit more space here. This is all fine. So this is going to be the DX combo box. But now, remember, I went over the documentation about that custom data thing that we need. And yeah, that is something that we can start using right now. And the way that this will work is that we will need to inject two things. So let me first remove this and complete this. And this will complain a bit because it's not finished yet. Yeah, this is all fine. So I will insert an inject data store. And in this case, it will be the integer employee model. And I will need to inject the DxGrid loader. And next, I will need to create a similar function that was already available. So I'm going to create a protected task load result. load employees. That will receive that. Let me copy that out of the documentation. It's a bit too much. Yeah, I will need this one. This is the options. It will need that cancellation token.
Yeah, we have a comment that's popped up, Don. Enable column chooser to uncomment the columns.
You are absolutely right. You have
with a very helpful link.
I know I was aware of that, but I just wanted to do this quickly. So yeah, but you're absolutely right. I could make the columns invisible as well and then enable the column chooser, which is a very cool feature. And you know what? I'm going to do that in a sec. Once we have this, this loader. So now I can actually, I'm using this get lookup data source that we just implemented in that data source loader, and I can pass in those results. I need to use a couple of things here. That one as well. And now the combo box will query on the same efficient way as what the data grid is doing. So with this in place, I can now use that custom data feature here, which will execute this method. I do need to specify, that is important. If you want to go with the custom data, you need to tell the combo box which models will it be receiving and what the value is of the selected item. And in this case, it's an integer. So that is something which is important on using this approach. Next, we're going to specify the text field. Let me put this one here. The text field shows the full name of the employee. And the value field, that is also an important thing here, is the employee ID. And then the last thing that we'll need is we need to bind the value to the item. And the item is typically the model being edited right now. To get back to this comment in the chat box, let's do it straight away. I'm going to remove this once. I'm going to say visible false. Oh, I'm going to do it. But as you can see, it takes a bit more time as just selecting those rows and disabling them.
Just a bit.
And now I can, they're gone as well. All right, so let's see if we can now change that support rep person by going back here. This can go. And if I would now go to the second one, which is Steve. Hey, Steve is here. And I can now pick any of the other ones. So I'm going to change it over to Andrew.
Nice.
And as you can see, it works. How long are we already working? Are we a bit?
I think we're, just because we had our tech issues.
Yeah.
But we're at about an hour. So
shall we see, because this was Blazor server, shall we see if it works on Blazor WebAssembly as well? Would that be cool?
Yeah.
Because the only thing I need to do now is change my startup project. run it. So we'll see the loader. This one. Hey, I've got employees as well. You see?
I see
It was
it.
just added on one place. Oh, what's here? Yeah, I know what it is.
You know what it is?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I did add a couple of things, but I forgot one little thingy in the client application, and that is, I mean, we registered the entity framework stores, so I have been working with these ones, but for the client application, I created this API store, which will communicate with the backend with a web API, and I have implemented this customer API store, but I didn't do the employee API store.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it needs to be registered as well. So let's quickly do that because it's now very efficient to do so. Customer API store. Oh no, it was the employee API store. And how did I do it? Oh yeah, I needed this. So I'm going to put it here. This is going to be the employee model. And again, we need to implement the missing constructor, and we need to implement the abstract class, which tells us this is typically the same as I did with the EF one, I guess. So I could copy that over. Where was it? Yeah, here it was. And this one is not necessary, I think. And what did I forget? Oh yeah, that's one thing that is needed here. And that is the URL, the controller base. And the controller base is this. All right, so if we now register this one by just copying this and changing it over, employee model to employee API store. That is set. And then the last thing is that we need to implement that controller as well on the web API backend. So here I'm going to create employee controller. And let's change this over to that. So that this can go. So I'm now actually setting up the web API to access those entities. This is going to be changed to employee model. We can actually make this even shorter, but we will not be dealing with this right now, I guess. Employee, employee, employee. I think this is all it, right? I think.
Did you forget anything?
Yes. Yeah, I'm just double checking. Yeah, you are absolutely right. And yes, I did something. It is in plural. Employees controller. Yeah, I think this should work. Let's see. So in the last minute or so, I set up a web API controller, including a data service, and I registered pretty much everything. And if I would go back here, let me reload this page to make sure that this works. Huh. What happened? Cannot provide a value for the property store on customers. Huh.
Hmm.
That is too bad. Let's have a quick check. I have this one, but it was complaining about this one. And my web API. Huh. Is registering those services. That is weird. But fortunately, I have, I think I had Swagger configured, so I could at least see if this works. Huh. Employee. Of course. I think it was trying to connect to the customer's endpoint while it should connect to something else. Huh. That is too bad. Let's. What does it say? Cannot provide a value for the client page customers. There is no registered service of type iData Store employee model. Huh. I was
I
pretty
feel like this
sure I
is
read.
like always going to happen whenever you're like, I'm just going to really quickly.
Yeah, that was the idea,
I'm
right?
just going to like
This
just
is,
super quickly show you this other thing, and then it's like,
yeah, that was
bum,
the
bum, bum.
idea. Oh, I've got a sound for that. I have a sound for that. What was it again? It was the this one. No, it was this one.
Wait, is that crickets and then a trombone?
Yeah, there was crickets and
Yeah.
Okay, so let me have a really quick.
Okay,
I had
while you're
forgotten to
looking at,
register.
do you, I'm going to just bring up .NET Conf because we did get a comment about
Yeah,
what's
please.
happening next
Yeah.
week while you're scouring your code.
Well, yeah, please.
.NET Conf is next week. It's the November 14th through the 16th. DevExpress is a sponsor. There's a code party on the 14th. In the evening, they do a cool, well, last year they did an escape room. I'm not totally sure what they're doing this year, but There's tons of prizes. You should totally join. And I think we we'll probably base our Twitch streams next week on what we're hearing at .NET Conf and what's relevant to us here at DevExpress. So
Absolutely.
that's coming up next week. Hope to see you there. What do you think, Don? Have you found it?
I hope almost. Let me see. This is so stupid. I registered the employee model here. I have also registered, yeah, that is over there. I have registered the employee store right here. Validator as well. Huh. This is so weird. This is the register employee model. Yeah. I would say that everything is registered. Wait. Program. Yeah, here it is. I didn't call that register services, but I knew it. This is it. It's gonna work. I should actually change this. I will change it once before I commit it. Employee model. Yeah, now we're rolling. Yes.
Now we're cooking.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
So once you have registered everything, but at least you got a nice message in the console. So here we have our customers on the WebAssembly version. To make sure that we are on the WebAssembly version, here is our loader.
Right.
And here we have the support reps. And if I would go to edit, we can change this, and this is using WebAssembly, and this is using a web API backend to get that data and to update the data as well. And yeah, if we now, that's probably the last thing I want to show. That's like a 1 minute thing. If we now want to make this field required, so you need to add that thing, we can do that really simple, because now we have already set up everything. If I would go to my model folder, which was right here, I go to the customer model. I have that validator here, and I can now set up a rule. Support rep ID should not be empty. And now I'm all set. Technically, I need to do this on the server as well, because that thing that I just changed is client side, which could be tampered with. But if I go here and I do the same here, support rep. So yeah, these are typically the only two places where I can use, where I can start using my validation. And now
we got a comment that says Don is like Nike, always just do it.
Thank you for that, but yes. Let's get
Nike
back
is not
here.
a sponsor of this Twitch stream.
Of course not. No, I like the shoes, but that's totally not relevant here. Okay, so here I'm adding a new one. If I hit save, what you'll see is now it's required. You see?
Oh, yeah.
By just adding that 2 rules, and we're all set.
That actually was super simple and quick.
Yeah, once you know. Yeah, well, in essence, it's all quite simple to configure now, but if you follow the steps and you register the correct things here and there, then you're all set.
But if you do it right, it works.
Of course.
Of course.
And I guess yeah, this will probably wrap it up for today, and I will commit this. Did I actually? We didn't talk about this. I know I'm behind on the blog posts. They are in the works, but
Hmm.
I think one thing, in case you want to get going with this and play around with it, don't forget to check out my GitHub repository because I happen to have that. Ah,
Oh,
oh my God.
you're
Oh
gonna sign
no.
in live? What's happening?
Nah, yeah, this is gonna be two factor. Nah, not today. Wait, nah. Let me see if I was signed in here. This is not what I want. In any case, I have this GitHub repo which is called DxTwitch Official, and I have for every episode I have created a branch, and you can get one of those branches. They are called EP01, 02, etc., etc. So you can follow pretty much all the steps that I've done so far and see what I've changed and what I've done. So yeah, check that out.
What is it? It's DX official? What'd you call
No,
it?
it is. I'll paste the link right in. That makes it more easy. Let me look it up on my other screen because this is not what I want. Where was it? I'll get this out of the way, and this as well, and I will put it right in here. So here is the repository with all the codes that I've done so far, and check the branches because there are about 8 branches in right now, which are doing everything. Everything is in there what we've done so far.
Cool. I popped it into our Twitch chat too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, all right. Well, so that's it for this one today. Again, join us next. Well, I guess tomorrow. Are you doing a stream with Gregory on DxStream again? Just Thursday this week. All right. So no
Okay.
Wednesday stream. Thursday, I will be live with Arig, our client services director. And the next week, join us. I think we'll be chatting about .NET Conf.
Absolutely.
Maybe watch the
Cool.
keynote, give some, I don't know, insight,
I'll have some.
perhaps.
Yeah.
All right, so we will see Don next Tuesday. And all of you. And if you
Absolutely.
haven't followed us already on Twitch or turned on your notifications for when we go live, you can do that now.
And on YouTube as well, right?
Oh, yeah, we're also live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, our first simultaneous stream, right?
How cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.